My name is Tom from Custom LED Service. We have an office in Denver and another installation facility in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We specialize in LED kits for interior and exterior from C5s to C8s. Today we're going to be installing a complete interior kit in a 2020 C8. And so I'm going to show you what these kits look like. The full interior kit includes, this is for the rear trunk, this is for the front trunk, and these are the footwell strips here. And you'll notice these kits all have connectors that plug right into the factory connector. There's no tapping of wires to do. You unplug the factory lights and plug ours in. So it makes it a very easy installation. I think to install this whole kit, it might take a person maybe an hour if they're taking their time. So the main kit tools you'll need is one of these panel removal tools. You should be able to find these at Harbor Freight or any parts store. You might want to have a little pick or a little flat blade screwdriver to help unlatch the factory lights. The factory lights will be inoperable after you install these kits, but you will not miss them. These will outpower the factory lights completely. So with that, we're going to get started with the front kit first. Take the single kit. And we'll just set it up here. First thing you need to do.
That light is really bright.
First thing we need to do is pull up on this weather strip right here. It just simply pulls up. You want to pull it around to this side because you'll need to get at this factory light. I'm going to go ahead and grab my tool here. So the first thing we need to do is take out this retainer right here. Get your tool behind there, and it's going to sound terrible, sound like it's breaking, but it's not. Just pull it right out. Take out your net retainer right here. This will allow us to get back behind this panel right here. It's a little bit stiff. So what you want to do is get your tool over here, get behind this corner, and pry it out. I usually like to get behind here. I'm going to take these off too. Take the front panel retainer out here. Allow us to get a little bit more flexibility here. There. Sounds like it's breaking, but what you're doing is you're popping out these two retainers right here. It does take a little bit of work. Sometimes if you can get your hand behind here to help push these retainers out from the back side, it can be easier. Next thing we need to do is disconnect this factory light right here. And if you push there, you can just disconnect it right there. This factory light came apart right there. Just snap that back in there. Okay, so now I'm going to grab my, go around that side if you can, Joe. So now I'm going to slide this. You'll notice it has a channel back here. That channel will slide right over the trunk, the inner trunk liner. Just slide it over the top of that liner right there. I usually try and center it between these two net retainers here. Okay, there, that's in place. Now the wire we're going to need to sneak back behind this inner fender liner here. So I hold the LED strip here, bend the wire in a U shape, and then just go ahead and feed this wire all the way back over here You can pull this out a little bit. It's stiff, but you can get your hand behind there and bring out the LED wire here. All you have to then do is plug it into your factory connector. Now if the light doesn't light, these lights will time out after about 15 minutes. So if the LED doesn't light when you plug it in, you'll have to close and reopen the trunk again. You have to find the button a minute there. So anyway, this shows the LED strip lit up. Now we need to put this panel back in. If you get a close-up shot here, these are the slots that those retainers need to go back into right here. And you notice this is flexible. So I like to try and get my hand behind there to support that bracket just a little bit. We'll try it without doing that. There, we can do it without doing that. Everything's back in place. Go ahead and put your weather strip back on. Pull this lip out like this. Run your finger along here. And pull this lip out so it will cover the LED strip, or the LED channel. Just run along there and run your finger underneath there and make sure it's out. Make sure the strip is in place. That's it for the front kit. Didn't take us too long. Go ahead and put your retainer back in here. And your trunk net retainers. There, we're finished with the front. The LED wire doesn't show. And we'll do a video at the end of this to show it in the dark environment. We're now going to do the rear trunk on the C8 Corvette. We've got our two LED channel strips here. And notice the strip with the lead on it is on the right side, on the passenger side of the car. So what you're going to do is, same as you did in front, you pull up this weather strip. We need access to both of these lights. So we're just going to pull that strip up, get rid of it. We're going to unscrew the trunk net retainers. We have to get back here to unplug the factory lights, which will be non-operational after we put our LED kit in. Okay. This panel is flexible, so you can bring it out. Come on over here, Joe. If we can just push in right here, disconnect the light. On the driver's side, just leave it disconnected. Come over here, just push in right here, disconnect the light. And this lead here, we're just going to plug our LED strip right into this factory connector. And the lights come on. So now what we're going to do is mount our LED strips. There'll be a red line on this kit. Other kits have a slot there. So what I'm going to do is line up this red line above the trunk net retainer bolt here. And these are flexible. They will bend. Whoops, I'm sorry. You slip the channel right over the trunk liner. Push it down. Back up a little bit. And we're going to do this side the same. This red line kind of in line with the trunk net retainer. Slip this over the trunk liner. Now the wires, you're going to want to just fold in a U fashion. Hold the LED strip in place, fold the wire in a U fashion and tuck the wire behind. Same here in the center. Tuck the wire behind the trunk liner. Again, fold it in the U fashion over here. And you'll notice the lights have just timed out, so we'll have to close and open the trunk again. So these are flexible, so you can just bend it. It'll bend with the trunk liner. So give us a far out view of it here, Joe, what we've done. So this is mounted, this is mounted. Just go ahead and put this back in place. You're going to want to pull this outer lip over the LED bar so it'll hide what remains of the LED mounting channel. So all just pushes back in place. And make sure this outer lip is pulled over the trunk liner. With everything in place, and come back and run your finger underneath here so it'll hide all the LED bars. We're going to close the trunk and open it again. And that shows them both installed. Okay, now we're underneath the passenger side footwell. This is where your feet rest down here. So we have to take out this retainer here and this retainer here. This one over here in the corner close to the outside of the car is a bear. Really hard to get out. I've got this special pair of pliers that I use. Kind of separates them like this, but you may not have that. So you'll just have to work with your panel tool. And what helps is to get underneath not just the retainer. I'll do it here, it's easier to see. Not just get underneath this retainer, but get underneath the whole panel. Get behind this whole panel. This one is a little easier. You can just pop it out. This one over in the corner here, like I say, you're going to have to work with it. It's hard because this, where it pushes into, is flexible, so it doesn't want to pop out as easy. So then you're going to pop this panel down. Once you pull out the retainers, you can look under here and you'll see this is the factory light under here. You can usually just pop that right out of the socket. And if I can do this one-handed, turn to this side right here. Put your thumbnail right there in that latch and pull it off. You can either put it back in there, or you can put it in your glove box. You won't be needing it. I'll go ahead and pop this one back in there, I think. Where is it? There, I popped it back in its socket, and you can just leave it there. So you plug the LED wire. Here's the LED strip. Plug the LED wire right into the factory connector, right there. So now that I've plugged the LED wire into the factory connector, I can push these retainers back up into place. And the wire just goes off in the corner like that. So next I need to apply my adhesion promoter to the plastic panel. So on these packets here, as you pull the sponge out, squeeze the fluid back into the packet so you don't use it all. You'll have some for other kits and for the other side. The strip is going to go right along this panel right here. It's a long flat surface. Just put a thin coat of adhesion promoter on there. Put the sponge back in the packet and fold over the top of this and seal it. I use a little clamp to seal it with. That way it won't dry out. Next, just peel off the red backing off the back of the strip. Like so. And just center it on this panel right under here. And just stick it on the hard plastic part. Don't put it on the felt piece. Just stick it up right there. Make sure your wire's tucked up underneath there. And now we'll move to the driver's side. Okay, now we're underneath the driver's side. Here's the clutch or the brake pedal right here. So you're going to see two screws up here. There's one right here. And there's another one over in the corner there. So we're going to remove those two screws. They're 7mm. Okay, so now we've pulled down that little panel we just took the two screws out of. Here is your factory light right here. So we're just going to rotate that thing clockwise a little bit, and it'll pop right out of there. And then disconnect it from the factory light by pushing this little tab right here, if I can get a good view of it. Same as we did on the other side. Push that tab and it'll unlock from the factory housing. Right here you just push it in and lock it back in place. You're going to connect your LED wire right into this connector right here. Okay, as you can see, I've put the screws back in this panel here. And notice where I brought the wire out. It's to the inside between the two screws. This is on the way outside of the car, the driver's side. So make sure that wire is inside of that screw. And what I did here is, you'll see this on the inside towards the console, you'll see this black wire tie that's factory. I just pried that down a little bit, stuck the strip behind on top of that little wire tie, and don't take the adhesive backing off of the strip in that area. Otherwise you'll have a hard time getting it up in there. And so then I prepped the area just like I did the other side with that adhesion promoter, and stuck the strip up there. You got to stick it in place, push it up there in place for a couple minutes, or for a minute, just to make sure it's stuck. And I also put a little piece of black duct tape on the wire over here, just to make sure somebody's foot doesn't catch on it, or it just holds the wire up. It'll keep the strip from pulling down. So sorry I couldn't do a better video. It's a little tough one-handed underneath the dash, so hope this helps you guys install these a little easier. You can go to customledservice.com for C5 through C8 interior and exterior LED kits. Sales@CustomLED Service is our email.